Granit, the third-rank member of the Single Digits, was a hero who supported the Empire from time immemorial. He helped lay the foundation of the Empire, playing an instrumental role in the 1,000 years of peace it enjoyed. Glorified as a god of war by its subjects, he was a great man, one chronicled in history books. Although he had disappeared from the public eye in the years since, he was still alive and well, serving as the Emperor's close confidant and captain of the 4 knights who guarded him. A skilled warrior versed in all manner of weapons and fighting techniques, his physique was magnificent. Despite being over 2,000 years old, his black hair, slicked back and kept short, gave him an eternally youthful impression. He was now facing off against Benimaru, the Flare Lord. Both men squared off against each other in the center of the arena. I am Granit, guardian of the Empire. Benimaru. Consider me the second in command of the Demon Lord Rimuru. And after those introductions, all that remained was to fight. That was Benimaru's thought, but Granit just smiled at him. Now wait one moment. Are you willing to hear me out? That depends on what it is. It's simple. We've been doing some research on you, you see. I've been told that you're a very, very strong man. I'm flattered. He. I wasn't trying to flatter you. I've slaughtered many powerful people, so I have a good eye for these things. In my opinion, you have fully passed the test. Not even your garden variety Demon Lord could give you much trouble. What are you getting at? At this point, Benimaru was starting to get irritated. He didn't mind negotiation, but now that the battle had grown this heated, there was no time for casual conversation. If he was going to surrender, that was a different story, but the way Granit looked, that wasn't the case. If anything, he seemed to be steering this talk toward demanding Benimaru's surrender. That prediction was right on the money. I didn't expect you to be this strong, you see. It's quite a surprise, and I have to say, Kondo disappointed me. Thanks to the negligence of his Imperial Intelligence Bureau, the entire Empire is exposed to danger. If the damage is worse than expected, it will be too late to stage a final battle. Personally, I think it's time to call it a day. Will you swear to join my side and serve under me? If you do, I promise I will take full responsibility for both you and all who serve you. It was a very convenient offer for Granit. Here he was, facing sure defeat, and instead he was offering a ceasefire with 0 consequences for himself. From a third-party view, that's all it would have looked like. But it wasn't that, for Granit didn't think he could lose. He was only trying to bring Benimaru and the others to shore up the significant loss of strength the Empire faced. And Benimaru, seeing through this, was now feeling extraordinarily annoyed. This fool. Trying to use us as his pawns. But he does seem to have the power to back up that confidence. Benimaru calmly assessed Granit. The fact that he was making this suggestion here, in the alternate dimension, indicated that he knew what was going on in the other gates. He was more than a guard, likely more of an officer type with a tactical view over the entire battle. Putting my army aside for a moment, what would you do with Sir Rimuru? I am sorry to say that the Demon Lord is dangerous. In order to confirm your allegiance to me, I'd need to ask your help defeating him. That was about what Benimaru figured. This was the offer he made, but what he really wanted was for the monsters to slaughter each other. And yes, maybe Granit would take Benimaru in if he survived, but he wasn't stupid enough to trust such an uncertain story as that. Besides, betraying Rimuru was too outrageous an idea to even suggest. How ridiculous. We would never stab Sir Rimuru in the back. Benimaru was listening to all of this in order to stall for time. He had, in fact, heard a little voice in his mind a bit earlier, a vaguely familiar, comforting one, and it had a suggestion for him. Benimaru, may I make a slight modification to the type of power you crave? It was a pretty shady thing to ask, and normally Benimaru would have never given it the nod. But for some reason, he agreed to it. He had evolved into a Flamacil, a spiritual life form, but he wasn't satisfied with just that. He had been lent an ultimate skill from Rimuru, and based on that experience, he wanted to acquire one by his own hand. And he was actually halfway there already. Watching the battle between Rimuru and Valgrand, as well as the struggles of his other companions, Benimaru had become enlightened. His power of fire, his main specialty, was now integrated with his unique skill-born leader. He couldn't reproduce Rimuru's absolute severance ability, but his beloved sword Gurren had been reforged by Kurub to attain god class. When Dark Flame was added to it, the difference in performance was such that he'd never lose with it. Between his unique talents as a Flamacil and the skill-born leader that united them all, he was on the verge of reaching his ultimate peak. That's when the voice came in. So he decided to wait and see what kind of changes his approval brought about. That was why he agreed to talk with Granit, but when he asked him to betray Rimuru, Benimaru began to regret it deeply. The mere suggestion was offensive to him. Having had more than enough of this, he drew his sword and pointed it toward Granit. Whoa, it's not good to have a short fuse like that. Monsters are all about survival of the fittest, aren't they? Aren't you supposed to serve and follow the strong? And don't monsters switch masters all the time? Hearing this from Granit almost made Benimaru's blood boil. He was the commander-in-chief of the monster forces, and he thought he had a good grip on his anger by now, but... Haha. Guess I can't laugh at Xian any longer. He mocked himself for it, but now he had no intention of holding back his anger. Draw your blade. There is no meaning to further conversation. Oh brother, Granit said, shaking his head. I don't understand. This is both an extension of mercy and the greatest concession you could ever receive from me. Out of great respect for your position, I was allowing you to serve under me without anyone having to be hurt. He sounded truly mystified over it. He certainly didn't doubt his own strength. He was saying all this because he truly believed he could overwhelm his foe. And Benimaru, fully aware of this, grew more incensed by the moment. The only reason he hadn't started slashing away yet was because he wanted to make Granit truly regret his words. So are you keeping this chat going because you want to make excuses about your defeat? Ha ha ha. What a thing to say. I like your spirit, but you should really know your place here. Yes, my men were perhaps too proud for their own good and all of them are now defeated. It would shame me to even show my face to His Majesty right now, but if you would only nod your head at me, we have more strength than ever before. I'd be happy, and even better, you wouldn't have to die. We can build a good relationship that way, can't you see? And now that I've given you my offer, do you understand what's at stake here? I'm not at all the sort to use you and your people as discardable pawns, you see. Despite how obvious Benimaru's annoyance was by now, Granit just kept pressing on. And even worse, he was unmistakably sincere in his words. He had the air of a hero, certainly, and his demeanor spoke volumes about his honest, guileless approach. If you, too, are commander, think about it. Think of all the soldiers and officers you could save with a single decision. And let me also tell you the cold, hard truth. Damrata and Kondo truly are strong. I have been friends with Damrata for many years, and I know his character well. I'm stronger, of course, but not even a primal could defeat the likes of him. And look at Kondo. A relative newcomer, but every bit as strong as we are. His Majesty placed him under his control because he's too dangerous, really, but there's no way a primal could beat him either. What I'm saying here is that if you seek to confront His Majesty, you will have to face 4 invincible guardians first, including myself and Valgrand. And you can understand how impossible that is, don't you? This guy's got a pretty loose tongue, Benimaru thought. That diffused his anger a little, so he decided to see what else he could milk him for. There were a few words here and there that enraged him, but if Granit could reveal more of the Empire's inner workings to him, he wouldn't mind putting up with it. One interesting tidbit in particular was how the Emperor had Kondo under his control. It seemed clear, now that Lidora had some kind of domination skill. Of all the irresponsible things to say to me, it's a little surprising to hear you decide for us that we can't win. Besides, even if I said yes, I have no interest in having our hearts and minds all be controlled by you. Ha ha ha. Have I piqued your interest? Well, I'm sure I have. I understand that you ogres have long served as talented mercenaries, so I assumed you might be interested in joining me under the right conditions. And fear not, as you said, His Majesty can indeed control people's minds. But there's hardly any point worrying about it, is there? Unconvinced. Well, you may be entitled to, but it's something of a thorny issue, you know. If you were ruled over, after all, you should be proud of it. If you weren't competent enough for that honor, after all, we'd just be ignoring you anyway. Kondo is ruled over in the same way, too, although he's not aware of it. I'm the only one who knows about it all. Can't help but feel a little sorry for him sometimes. This is going nowhere. It really was out of the question. He could understand Granit's logic, faulty as it was. If you were being mind-controlled but never realized it, there was nothing to be unhappy about, was the idea. It was valid, yes, but not exactly a convincing argument. You don't think. But it's really true, you have nothing to worry about. I was taking an alternate angle to this because I thought you wouldn't believe me otherwise, but I can assure you that you and your companions will never be ruled over in that fashion. Why not? Because you are weak. Aha. This reignited Benimaru's anger.